to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. We bring you the right information to empower you, the SME entrepreneur. Tonight on this special show, Broadcast One presents Disruptors, two of India's most innovative companies. First up in focus is Globallogic. On the other side of a short break, Legrand is on our radar tonight. Sumit, thanks very much for speaking with us here on the show.
Thank you for having me here.
We are talking to India's biggest disruptors. So my question to you really is, how are you as Globallogic disrupting the technology space? What are you really doing to ensure that you are constantly innovating and you're constantly disrupting this industry?
See, the whole space has been abuzz. If you look at the last couple of years especially, it's sort of reached a crescendo now. Oh, there's this new technology, this is disrupting. What we do is, A, understand all of the trends that are happening in the technology world, and B, help our clients apply that technology to their business. So we really are a company that's helping our clients make sense of the technology and realize its relevance and importance to growing new revenue streams for them. And what I really mean by that is bringing together a very strategic, design-oriented thinking process combined with complex engineering on top and bringing out innovative solutions out into the market. And that's really why clients work with us. That's what we mean by disruption. We are not inventing a lot of new technologies by ourselves, but we are making sense of a lot of new technologies and inventing ideas or adoption mechanisms for those technologies in everyday businesses and lives.
We also spoke about disruption at Globallogic and what has helped the company stay abreast of innovation while adopting new technologies.
In the technology world, we are not very well known for in the recent decades, I'll say, leave the history behind. We are not very well known for bringing out new ideas or thoughts into the technology world. For a company like us, internally we really like to be called or look at ourselves as the innovative face of Indian technology. And what's helping us with that is, fundamentally as a demography or as a gene pool, we are fairly analytical, we are fairly mathematical. So we've got lots of raw talent in India. Okay. If you combine that with our DNA or our heritage, where we have grown up doing complex engineering work, that lays a foundation for a culture which itself attracts very bright technology minds into the company. And then you combine that with our laser-like focus. Because we are an engineering services firm, it is important for us to be at that cutting edge all the while. So there's a culture, there's an inherent psyche in the company, which is, what's next? Imagine next, think about this. This is already applied. So we really look at our technology prowess on three different time horizons, if you will. Horizon one, which we call as the here and now, which is really the mainstream of technology, which is what everybody is talking about, the regular digital solutions today, mobile, analytics, and cloud, etc., etc. That's a scale game, if you will, at this point in time. Horizon 2 is really about things which are around the corner, right? Blockchain, fake news is a big problem as an example. And we have people thinking, so how do I apply blockchain in this media distribution software that I'm building for these massive global news publications, and how do I help counter fake news as an example, right? Augmented and virtual reality. Traditionally, the aircraft industry is the only one that has really leveraged them to the hilt. Today, it's so relevant in the medical world, so relevant in the automotive world, so relevant in everyday life, right? I just saw the recent launch of a new car, and they had a full-page ad, bring the test drive home, and they are actually sending out this virtual reality gear that you can wear and do the test drive home. So the technologies that are just around the corner for mainstream adoption, we have a lot of focus on that, and you'll talk to one of my colleagues, our CTO for Asia Pacific region, later on in the segment, and he'll talk to you more about what we're doing there. Sure. And then there is Horizon 3, where really the research is happening today, quantum computers, DNA-based storage, etc., where we keep a track of those things and really think about, as they start to move to Horizon 2, what would we need to do about them.
Going forward, is it possible for you to predict what technology trends are going to become important and crucial? Is it possible at all to do that? What's exciting you about the next few years when it comes to future technologies and future trends? Anything you can leave our viewers with in terms of what really you're working on?
So I'd like to describe Globallogic as a company that helps save lives, and on the other hand helps make human lives better by applying digital disruption and innovation and bringing it to bear for our everyday lives. M&A for us is not for reasons of revenue accrual. M&A for us is either for building credibility or for building new capability quickly. By credibility, what I mean is if an M&A allows us to suddenly become credible to a set of client constituents which would have otherwise taken years to build credibility with.
Sure.
Or if we get to acquire a capability in one of these emerging areas that I just spoke about, right, in AI or AR, VR or blockchain, etc., those are the areas that we are looking at. So again, credibility more from what I call Horizon 1 technologies, where if we find something interesting in the digital segments, we'll be very, very keen to look at that.
Sure.
And Horizon 2 from a capability viewpoint, be it from security angle, be it from the blockchain or the trust angle, etc. Those are the areas that we are continuing to look at. And our ecosystem is such, we have done eight acquisitions in our journey thus far. 6 of those entrepreneurs are still working with Globallogic. They still find this environment conducive to satisfying their entrepreneurial hunger or the trust. The only 2 who are not working with us anymore are the ones who retired from the company a couple of years ago. So it's a very, very conducive, welcoming ecosystem where M&A really means you get integrated into the family and you still get to do your thing.
You are very closely associated and you're a part of industry body NASSCOM, and I'm sure you're aware that NASSCOM has said that only 1 out of every 4 students who's coming out of colleges today has the requisite skill sets for the jobs for which they're being hired. So this is really a 2-part question to understand from you. 1, what are you doing about finding that right talent, because you're talking future technologies? And 2, how are you as a leader perhaps constantly educating yourself and constantly learning as well?
Our thinking or our thrust continues to be hire for attitude, train for skill. Skilling, unskilling yourself or reskilling yourself is that attitude or that mindset, the ability or capability to adopt and adapt with a changing environment around you is what we look for. The rest of the stuff, yes, somebody needs to be taught on how to work with machine learning. The mathematics is still the same as it was in the 60s or the 70s. Yes, it has evolved, but the fundamental principles are the same. Those things can be taught and dealt with. So and I'll say this again, right? It's the ability to learn, unlearn, relearn. That's what we look for. Rest is easy.
All right, Sumit, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Puneet, thanks for taking the time today. You're a company that's almost 2 decades old, and you've been associated with a large part of that journey. And I just want to understand that as a company that has a global footprint, what your experience has been about how consumers in India are perhaps relating differently and are using technology differently, or are understanding the use of technology differently from what their global counterparts are doing.
So I'm personally very excited about the potential that technology transformation holds for Indian businesses.
Sure.
I think being an Indian, I can sort of see a fundamental difference in how our mind works as opposed to a Western mind. We do not love structure a lot.
Sure.
Okay, there is this fun with a little bit of chaos in what we do. Our mind instinctively looks for those non-linearities, and therefore I think there is huge opportunity in the way an Indian CEO looks at business today and looks at the potential tomorrow, and can be inspired by the step change in competitive dynamics using technology.
What do you think is really helping you innovate and disrupt in your industry? What is really driving that?
I think a big difference in the way in a market like India one needs to look at technology is to think about ROI upfront. We are teaching our own employees to excel at the art of figuring out what the problem is, what the opportunity is, what is the new art of the possible using a new technology like AI. What is it that we knew as a problem to be solved 5 years earlier, But today, because of the way the ecosystem has evolved, you can cost effectively solve that problem. I think without any doubt, it's a complex problem that the industry is dealing with. And somebody like Globallogic that prides itself in working with the complex dimensions of the engineering that is required, our need or demand on the talent is very, very high. So I think one entry of the funnel, we are very careful that we bring in the people with the right kind of attitude and right kind of optimism about what technology can do it. So I think that part is a very important part where you have to filter in and get the right attitude in. Then you have series of interventions from an architect academy to project manager academy. Technology is so much part of our DNA that as opposed to a traditional industry where you'll focus on deep technology skilling for the architect community, in our world, a project manager needs to have a very deep appreciation, love, and understanding of technology for him or her to be able to manage a complex engineering exercise. So across the talent pool in the company, you have series of training and enablement initiatives. But I finally believe that you can only train that much. Okay? I think the true potential is not to really build great technologists, but to build great innovators. A great innovator is somebody who's sort of sitting, having a conversation, looks at a problem, and then ideas start popping in your mind that this is how I can potentially use blockchain or AI or immersive experience to solve the problem. That mind that's constantly seeking problems to solve, that entrepreneurial sort of urge that there is a vacuum here because of the problem that I'm observing and this is how I can solve it, I think that is very central.
Great. Thanks for taking the time today to speak to us, Puneet. Thank you. Time for a break. On the other side, Legrand is our second disruptor tonight. What is the company doing in India? What is their outlook for the domestic market? More when we come back. Just stay tuned. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. And tonight on Broadcast One presents Disruptors, our focus is on Legrand. Legrand is a global electrical and digital building infrastructure solutions provider. They entered the market here in India in 1996 and has since grown by leaps and bounds. And I spoke to them about just that, their growth story and how they ensure that innovation and disruption is at the heart of everything they do. Take a listen. Sameer, pleasure having you here on the show talking about Legrand. What makes you synonymous when it comes to innovation and disruption in the market, and how you've managed to really be a leader in your industry over many years. Let's start by talking about your journey here in India. You entered the market, I understand, in 1996, and it's been quite a long journey. How has the market changed, and how have you as a company perhaps responded to those changes?
Thank you very much. First, at the onset, it's a pleasure to be a part of your show. Yes, it's been a long journey, a very successful journey, I would say. Two business models, acquisitions and organic growth. So that's how we have done 5 acquisitions over a period of this journey. Your main question on innovation, I think, is the DNA of the brand and of the organization. To give you a few examples, maybe how you will understand it better on how the innovation works in Legrand. We are strong, quite strong in the residential sector, and today if you look at, we have IoT products for residents. To give an example, we have a door phone, which is IoT, which is compatible to your phone. You have an access to your security and whatever is going into house. So that's been, I would say, a landscape from a very basic renovation in a house 20 years back to an IoT products which are part of the lifestyles there. Of course, in between there have been journey with lot of wiring devices. We had been launched wiring devices around 10 to 12 years back and become a number 2 strong position. And primarily the DNA of wiring devices also have been innovation and design. If you look at the other segment where we are strong is the commercial space. That's also have worked really well. If you look at hospitality, we have the LEED certification, you have the ITC hotels, you have many hotels who are green now, and we are part of their green journey. So it's just not, and it's journey not by giving the products, it's the entire end-to-end solution from our products when how they are manufactured, they are ROHS, they are green, and how we dispose those projects at the end of the lifestyle is totally green. So a lot of in-house R&D efforts, a lot of innovation, a lot of strong KPIs and matrices to monitor these innovations, and a bit of acquisitions to supplement this whole activity. That's how it spans in India, and really proud to say that yes, the journey has been very exciting and very satisfying to us as well as to our stakeholders.
Fantastic. So like you said, innovation is really a part of your DNA, and you're constantly innovating to ensure that you're putting customer first. That in fact is your stated motto. My question to you is, even as you're constantly innovating, even as you're putting a certain percentage of your revenues necessarily into R&D and into innovation, you're a company that's present globally, and therefore presume consumer tastes, for instance, are different in the different markets you're in. How do you ensure then that you're listening closely to your consumers?
I think the key for a customer listening is, can we be part of an enabler to their business? I think that's the big connect. We don't want to look customers in isolation from our product point of view. We need to understand the business of the customer, and we as Legrand, can they become a part of being an enabler to their business. I think that's the key. The second example is ease of installation of our products. That's where, again, the innovation comes. The product might be same, be it us or be it the competition, but if our installation is easy, if his electrician is able to install our products in 15% less time, the productivity of electrician increases. Okay. Same goes through education. We are through in IITs, the AIMS, the hospitals. The same thing works, looking at what the stakeholder needs, and we continuously innovate. More important thing is, sometimes we need to take the standards upfront and educate the customers to get used to those standards, but do it in such a way that they see a value to it. They don't see in isolation that we are just increasing the standards of a particular thing or increasing the specification of a product in a certain thing. If a specification is getting increased because of our innovation, it clearly adds to a value of that end customer. That's how it's been going on for so many years.
I understand about 85% of all your products that you sell in the domestic market are made here. Would you look at moving that up further? What's the plan there?
No, clearly the focus is India. Sure. India is a growing country. Everybody is aware of it, and we want to be very close to our customers and do the fulfillment to our customers in India in the best possible way.
Sure. Very quickly, let's talk about the fact that we're sitting here today in your experience center, and this is a B2C experience center. Very few B2C experience centers of this kind are in India. Most people focus on B2B. So first, where did the thinking come about having the center? And just very briefly talk to us about the center. Yes. In a while.
So as a business model, we have both B2B and B2C. So 70% of our business is approximately B2C and 30% B2B and 30% B2C. What we were looking at when we were looking at people don't look after product and features and the utility of the features today. They want to see how the products gets integrated to their environment, whatever be the environment, be it a workplace, be it a residential, be it where they work. They just want to see how the products seamlessly integrate towards that. That's from an end user perspective. So this Innoval, which is the first in India in Mumbai, it's a tough challenge to build an Innoval in 850 square feet, I would say, with a catalog of more than 70,000 products. So that's been a challenge. But I think, like I said, the experience becomes the more important rather than products 50%. You would see here we have different areas which suits to the residential customers, which used to the commercial, to the infrastructure. And the idea is to clearly showcase an environment where they are able to take away and visualize how it would look in wherever they are working or staying or stuff like that.
The one thing that I also want to talk about as far as your products are concerned is that they're not only functional, but you also ensure they look good and they look futuristic. And I want to talk about the role of manpower when it comes to being able to make that, and also have the concept of design thinking and the design elements that go into that. I noticed 15% of your total global workforce is Indian. Talk to us about the kind of people that you've been able to hire. Has it been easy to find the people with the kind of capabilities that a business like yours needs? And it's the percentage of your workforce comprised by Indians is fairly significant. So, what that experience has been.
So maybe I'll answer it in two parts. One, it's a myth that the industrial products should not look good. I think Legrand clearly believes the other way, with whether it's an industrial product or a consumer-facing product, both needs to look good. Why should an industrial product not look good? And I think that's again is the DNA of the company, that it should be minimalistic, sophisticated from a design perspective, whatever is the application of that product. The second, yes, we are proud being an Indian that yes, 15% of the workforce is in India. Like I said, in India we had the only ground growth and the acquisitions happened. Acquisition is a part of business model and a process, I would say, and clearly the employees of the companies which we acquire are at the heart of the acquisitions, and we are very sensitive to this fact. So yes, we have various programs to see that the talent is retained and the talent is groomed. We have just launched the Legrand Academy inside the company. It's a very recent initiative where we have our own Legrand Academy where we look at the talents within the company.
Okay, I very quickly want to talk about, you were saying acquisition, so I just want to pick up on that and talk about maybe some of the things that you keep in mind when you're looking at these companies for acquisitions.
So one, it has to make business sense.
Yeah.
Clearly it has to be a strategic fit into our business model. Different types of models, I'll not elaborate. There are some plug-in where you need few products. Some is totally a new business which we feel is complementary to our business. Globally, we would have done maybe more than 100 acquisitions in Legrand worldwide. And I think again a business model which is quite close to our heart, and we have a process of how these companies, what we call it, get dogged in to Legrand.
My last two questions. One is, what insights can you give about the domestic market? How is India perhaps different from some of the other markets that you're present in?
India, if you look at Europe or US or other markets, clearly the numbers are big. So right from our population to the number of people we have and to the customers. So whatever we do, I think has to be big in India. So that's clearly drives the business. You can't be small, you can't be a niche player. You have to have market share where you can really sustain it and grow.
Okay, my last question then is, what next for you here in the domestic market? What's maybe exciting you in the next year or two?
So two things. One, we need to sustain this business. It's important. We need to make sure that our customers are happy. And like we say, what we have been experiencing is that the product life cycles are getting shorter. Things are changing, the lifestyles. I talked to you about how a house works, or the co-works are coming in the working spaces. So things are changing fast, and if we have to adapt to these changing lifestyles or the customer expectation, clearly we are saying, or the challenge to us is that the product life cycles are going small. If the product life cycle used to be 7 years, now it's 5 years, or maybe with 3 years, especially with the IoTs and things like coming up. So that's where a challenge. How do we make this into a business model? Still rotate the products much faster, bring the products to the market in much faster, meeting the customer's expectation, and still make a business out of it. I think that's where the challenge is, and somewhere we have, I think, we have proven to the market, yes, very humbly, that yes, we have been doing it successfully. Hopefully, we'll carry this forward for the next many years also.
All right, wish you all the best.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for speaking with us.
It was a pleasure. Thanks.
That's our show tonight. If you have any feedback for us, here's how you get in touch. leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com is our email ID. Reach out to us on social media. Tweet at me personally at Sunanda_J or LOT_ET Now, which is our official Twitter handle. On Facebook, we're on Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Now. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.